Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared Zitkowski. I'm a previous USAPL regional champion, and I've been training for 11 years. And today I want to talk about how to train every day, recovery diet, training, and discipline. So this is what I've been doing for the last 4 months. Started pretty much at the end of October, and I've been really pushing it, trying to make a really great effort to train consistently over the course of May in 2023, about April to June in 2023, I should say. There was a long period where I wasn't training. I was unmotivated, dealing with my job, and I had to figure out a workaround per se, in order to achieve my goals, the consistency that I love, and to have proper recovery. Now I have a compilation of points that I want to talk about today, and let's get right on into it. So to start, the first little section is kind of like a table of contents where I'm going to call consistency and discipline. The first part I want to talk about is avoiding injury. This has to do with recovery. Something that has helped me a lot over the last 4 months is really taking my recovery seriously, something that I have not done over the last 11 years. When I was very competitive in powerlifting, something that I didn't pay attention to was recovery, and it is something that greatly impacted negatively my overall output, muscle gained, and overall strength gained. Next is scheduling the gym. This is a huge thing when it comes to, getting out of college and working every single day. When I was in college and in high school, basically got out of school right around 3 o'clock. For college, sometimes 6 o'clock. But no matter what, we were able to go to the gym afterwards and not have a lot of stress and a lot of things to think about. Now, with me working 9 to 5, 9 to 3, 9 to 4, getting out of that work day and all that stress, it is definitely hard to find the motivation to be able to go to the gym after that. It was something that I dealt with, something that I never thought I would deal with, and it was a pretty big struggle for me, I have to say, as well as avoiding being sick. Now, I have put this into diet because there's a lot of things that on a day-to-day basis we consume and we do and we don't do. One of those things has to be with substance abuse, alcohol, marijuana, taking vitamins, eating proper vegetables, nutritional diet. I have another video that I've released recently called, how to get shredded for summer, the Chipotle edition, which kind of highlights and talks about my current diet. So if you have any interest with that, I'll leave it in the description below. But let's get started with recovery. Recovery is a huge point in any fitness career journey or transformation. And that all starts with sleep. No matter what you do in the gym, the most important thing to do is to sleep. That's when you are growing your muscles. Okay? When you get back from the gym after outputting a huge amount of energy into overall lifts, the point in which your body is growing is when you're sleeping. That is when all the muscle fibers that you've destroyed and are being built back and developing all happens when you sleep. So a very important thing to do is to set up a proper circadian rhythm. That is making sure you get 8 hours of proper sleep every single night. This was a big thing for me to be able to understand and to kind of go down the road with. I was always a night owl, staying up till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting 6 hours of sleep. And the older that I've gotten, the more that I've realized that it's incredibly important to take care of your sleep schedule. I understand, if you're 22, 23, it's a little bit scary, on a weekday or even a weekend, looking at the clock, seeing it's 9 o'clock, you got to go home and go to sleep. It's just one of the things of getting older, I play gigs. I'm in 2 bands. I don't really go out on the weekends very much except for those times. And when I have to do those, pretty much once I have finished my set, I am back home going to sleep. Now, there are some lenience with it. Dr. Andrew Huberman has quoted through his studies that the best thing to do is, if you're having a late night, to just sleep 1 extra hour than when you would normally get up. So I go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so that's 8 hours. So if I had a late night where I was going to bed at 10 or 11, push it to 6 a.m. the next day. It's going to be hard to do. It's going to suck, but it's important that you keep your REM sleep, your circadian rhythm, and that deep sleep as a huge priority to yourself in order for proper recovery and proper muscle growth. All right. Next thing that I do, which is not going to be the greatest thing, a lot of people are going to disagree with it and not want to do it. However, every morning I start my day with a cold plunge. Now, since around December, I've started cold plunging every single day. I'm about 3 months and some change into the cold plunge. And I have to say, it is one of the greatest things that has helped me through this process of training every single day. It decreases inflammation. It increases, I don't think there's any correlated evidence to it. Some people say it increases testosterone, but it overall increases your discipline, which I think is the most important thing about this. So besides overall, muscle recovery, which it has huge benefits for, I will leave some research studies in the description below, along with the head spokesman of Morozko Forge. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he has a lot of great and useful information when it comes to cold plunges. You don't have to go with an expensive cold plunge like that, but just being in the water in a temperature that is overall just uncomfortable to be in, 3-4 minutes, can really allow to develop some really good mental and discipline gains. So just going through the shit, getting in there, and getting it done. And when it comes to the gym and being consistent with it, not a lot of people, especially in the beginning, want to go to the gym every single day, right? But if you are one of those that want to go to the gym every single day and you want to be able to be consistent with it, and we need to remember, consistency is not just, the same thing every single day, You have to imagine 7 bubbles, okay? That Monday bubble could be full. The Tuesday bubble could be only a third full. And the representation of the fillingness, the fill of the bubble is just your output. So, you don't have to have the same level of output, the same level of push, the same level of intensity every single day, but just go in and get it done. Some days I go into the gym, as today, my adductor was really hurting. I was not able to push it as hard as I wanted to on hamstrings. I still went in, did my cardio, did what I could, just so I can check off another day of going in and getting it done. So for the cold plunge, I believe it helps. If anything, the biggest benefit is the overall discipline that you develop from it, as well as the overall recovery that you get from it. Next is the sauna. The sauna is another great, it's kind of the contrast of the cold plunge. For me, it is a lot harder to stay in the sauna. At LA Fitness, one of the LA Fitnesses that I go to a couple different gyms. Their sauna goes up to 180 to 190 degrees, and I stay in there for about 20 minutes. And that is a brutal thing for me. I do not like the heat. I do not like dealing with it. But again, it gives me another form of discipline to be able to break through, a barrier per se. There's also many other benefits of going in the sauna. One includes decreasing overall all-cause mortality. Want to live longer? Get in the sauna. You want to keep going, relieve all of that, bad muscle tension, get it done. And before I ramp on too much of the sauna, I want to add stretching into this as well. I stretch in the sauna. I don't like stretching. It's a discipline that I needed to overcome and do. I now stretch, is not every day, but I stretch as much as I can. I need to stretch every single day, but I'm human. It's hard to be able to just get everything consistent all the time. So being able to go into the sauna, to stretch, get that thing going, it is incredibly essential. And the last point that I want to make that I missed going down through the recovery is sleep. I take a bath every single night before I go to bed. And the reason behind that is to go to sleep, when you get in your bath, you increase your core body temperature, so it decreases before you go to bed. And to wake up, you need to increase your core body temperature. Okay? So, but mainly, when you're going to bed at night, I get into a bath, 112 degrees, 110, get out, my core body temperature decreases, I'm out like a light. That has helped me keep my circadian rhythm consistent and to be able to push through. So I just want to add that in. I almost forgot about it. It's important. Next, so my training has changed. I used to go into the gym every single day as a powerlifter. Not every single day. Towards the end, we got a little smarter with what we were doing. But overall, going into the gym and training as hard as I could, 2-3 hours, which was, if anything, hurting me at the end of the day, which will take us into bullet point 2, but we're not there yet. So for me, to be able to consistently train every single day, I like to go low volume, high intensity. And what that basically means is it's the Sam Sulek, the Mike Menser training philosophy. You're going in, you're doing 2 sets, per machine that you're doing, about 6 to 8 sets total, with very high intensity going to failure, or maybe 2 to 3 reps in the tank, maybe RPE 7. It depends on the day, it depends on what the movement I'm doing. But today for hamstrings, I was doing some pretty heavy RDLs. I didn't go to failure, just went to about RPE 7, and it kept me going, which is huge. I think that it's very important to be able to go in and push the intensity, but you want to avoid junk volume. Jeff Nippard talks about, and that is basically just going in and doing way too much volume and way too much work. Jeff Nippard also cites a paper specifically talking about, getting the bang for buck of going in the gym. And you pretty much want to sit between 6 to 8 sets per muscle group on a training day. So if you're training back, shoot for 6 to 8 sets. I've been doing that for the last 4 months, and that has allowed me to train every single day and progressively overload and avoid injury. So that's huge. So that takes us right to point 2, to avoid junk volume. Stay away from it. Don't do too much. Do what you need. Sometimes getting used to it, this is a very advanced lifter, kind of technique, because you need to know your body and be really sound with it. But if you can go in, just perform those sets with a good high intensity and push yourself, you will receive a better bang for buck. And view me as walking evidence. For the last 4 months, this is the most progress that I've made in the last 11 years following this specific training style and regimen. Okay? And like I said, point number 3, just listen to your body. Your body knows best. Today, like I said, I went in. The consistency was the same. The discipline was the same. However, the output wasn't the same. My adductor hurt. I didn't push too hard. I still did 6 sets of what I could, and then I moved on. And the most important thing, I must say, is you must keep your cardio consistent. When I go to train legs, I like to do cardio for 10 minutes in the beginning, and then later on I like to do 20 minutes after. If I'm just doing cardio by itself, I do about 30 minutes. This allows me to keep my joints moving, my body loose. I should be stretching before I do cardio. But overall, it allows your body to keep consistent, with the overall output that you're doing. Allows it to stretch out, sweat more, and also keep that body fat percentage down if you're bulking or if you're cutting, helping you out in that regard. So keep it consistent, keep it cranking, and keep yourself safe. So the last thing I want to talk about is diet. Like I said, I posted a video recently about the diet that I'm currently on. And within that diet, I'm getting plenty of protein, I'm getting a good amount of carbs, and 20% of my total intake comes from fat. Fat is very essential to keeping the brain going, to keeping your mood good, and keeping your mental health good. So it's important that you are getting all of your necessary macronutrients in. A lot of protein. I'll put a link down below to Jeff Nippard's Recomp video talking about, how to use lean body mass in a calculation to see how much protein you need to consume. And I'm telling you, it's a lot more than what you think. My bulk, I did not eat enough protein, and I'm paying the price as we speak. But it's very important to make sure your diet is good, you're keeping consistent with it. Another example that I can give you is when I was powerlifting and I would drop down to my calories and I wasn't consistent with it, that would lead me to way more injuries. The more injured I was, the less I could train. And that had to do with not having enough cushion around my joints. Okay? That's super essential. And another point, side point, I should probably put this within the diet bullet points, but taking creatine. Creatine is great to put in water and to give your joints support and stability, because at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of joints and a bunch of tendons and a meat sack just kind of walking around. So you need to make sure that you're keeping your joints safe, you're keeping your tendons safe, so that your muscles can continue to grow. And that all comes from your diet and how you fuel your body. You are a Ferrari, and never forget that. And only put the best things that you can in your body. Because if you put any of that other stuff in your body, or you're not giving your body enough, you're going to be running on fumes and you're going to stall. Don't do it. Next, something I've been doing recently is adding electrolytes into my diet every single day. So when I wake up in the morning, I drink a liquid IV that gets me going, gives me a lot of hydration. Sometimes I drink it during my workout. The best time to consume, Gatorade is during your workout while you're sweating to keep yourself hydrated. However, in the morning, I like it. Gets me up going, gets everything right. But it's good to get those in your body, get hydrated, and the potassium within the liquid IV will help avoid cramping, lactic acid buildup, and just keep you strong and keep you going. Another big thing is caffeine. You really don't want to consume caffeine until about an hour and a half to 2 hours after you wake up. This is quoting Dr. Andrew Huberman again. Because if you do that in the late afternoon, you're going to hit a crash and you're going to hit a wall. You want to be up and at it and awake enough to be able to do it. This is why I wake up at 5 a.m. so I can give my body enough time until about 6:30 before I consume my pre-workout before I go to the gym. I know a lot of you do not want to hear it, but waking up early, the earlier you can get up, the more consistent you will be in the gym. And I'll take that back to number 2 in the beginning when we talked about our table of contents. You got to schedule the gym first. It's a big thing to do, and a lot of people, necessarily can't do it. A lot of construction worker guys that I know, they got to be at the job site at 6 a.m. You can't wake up at 3 in the morning to go to the gym, right? But if you have the ability, you have a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 6 or even an 8 to 4, you can get in and get it done so you don't have to worry about it later in the afternoon. You can come home, you can focus on your recovery, and you can focus on your diet, you can focus on your stretching and going to sleep. Because if anything, those are more important than the overall training. All right? And also, don't consume caffeine 8 hours before you go to bed. Look at your fucking clock. Don't consume it. Don't screw up your circadian rhythm. Don't drink caffeine until that point. Some people work different. I can drink a Red Bull and pass out. But overall sleep quality that you're going to be getting during that period of time is not going to be optimal. So just keep that in mind. Everything that I'm talking about in this video, obviously, is my own personal experience, my own personal opinion. Everybody works different. Everybody can reach their goals in any way that they want to. However, for me, this is the best thing that I have been doing for the last 4 months or the last 11 years of training, and I want to tell you about it. And then the last one is something that I have struggled with heavily, which is substance abuse. I'm young, getting out of college, alcohol, can't avoid it. It's everywhere, everywhere. It's been very hard for me to step away from drinking alcohol and to put something in replacement of it to promote the success that I want to have in the gym, okay? When you drink alcohol, there is no benefit of it besides a dopamine release and just an overall feeling of comfort and dissociation, okay? I drank a lot of alcohol coming out of college. I still struggle with it. It's something that I have been able to hone in on and kind of put up a wall against it and put the overall training that I'm doing as a more important thing in my life. However, the big things with alcohol is it destroys your recovery, it dehydrates you, and it does not promote protein synthesis. It kills your gains. Why are you going to do something that's going to kill your gains? Now, does that mean you can't have a drink in moderation here and there? Sure. I play sets. I play gigs. I was hungover on Sunday, this previous Sunday of when this video came out. What's today? Wednesday? It wasn't good. You know what I didn't do on Sunday? I didn't train. It screwed it up. I played a gig, drank too much. It happened. I have to restart. I was strong for about 2.5 weeks. It's something you really just need to look at yourself in the eye and say, what's more important? And if building muscle, staying consistent, and having good mental health is important to you, then you know the answer. And the last thing is marijuana use. Now, I believe partaking in marijuana, weed, pot, the devil's jazz cabbage, is good for overall recovery. I think it's great. But however, there are some stipulations you need to do with it. About 3 hours before you go to bed, you want to lay off that stuff. It's going to screw up your circadian rhythm, and you are going to have a lack of rapid eye movement while you are sleeping. You want to have good quality of sleep? Don't toke 3 hours before. Now, that leaves a very wide amount of time in which you can partake. I personally, recently, have been partaking, probably about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, after my whole day is done, just a little bit, just to allow my body to recover, to have that anti-inflammation benefit, and also the mental release. The same thing that you can get from alcohol, except in this case, marijuana is helping us, not hurting us. There are some other situations where you can smoke and individuals can smoke and go to the gym. I used to be one of those. However, it's not for everybody. It can increase overall, anti-inflammation benefits while you're training and kind of pull down that, hesitation or, have you lock in more. But that's an entirely different conversation. But everything's in moderation. If you smoke too much, you're going to affect your recovery. You're going to affect your diet. You might be inconsistent. You might get the munchies. There's a lot of things you got to think about while you're going around this. However, if you can avoid the munchies, you can stay away for 3 hours before you go to bed. And it helps recover your body so you can stay consistent in the gym. Go for it. So that really brings us to the end of what I wanted to cover in this video. This has been How to Train Every Day, Recovery, Diet, Training, and Discipline. I hope you have a wonderful and a phenomenal day. And if anything in this video has helped you out or given you some clarity on anything, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your training's like. I'm curious. On the last video, we got a nice little forum going, talking about different diets. I'd love to hear about the different training methods, recovery, diet, what works for you. Let me know. If you can do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button, it helps me out a lot. And always, I'll see you in the next one.